önemli bir bölümünü zaten blok zincir üzerine almış bulunuyoruz. Peki, çok teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkür ediyoruz konuşma için. From SIGBA, Mr. Marco Aloe. Secure notarization on blockchain universally verifiable. The name of his speech. Blok zincir üzerinde güvenli noter işlemleri evrensel doğrulanabilirlik isimli sunumuyla Marco Aloe sahnede. Buyurunuz efendim, alkışlarla.
Thank you. Very good evening. Thanks for staying with me for this almost last speech. So the idea will be actually to explain how we can use blockchain to give identity to value documents, not only to digital ID, and also to secure register, and then not only data, but also processes. And this is very important. And then combining all of them, we can think to have a new national EID, I would say, solution. So I will use an example here of how we can verify universally using the blockchain value data. So my name is Marco Aloe, as said during the introduction. I'm working for SIGBA, and actually we are developing solutions on the digital space with a partner, technological partner, that is called Guardtime. Guardtime is an Estonian-based company. Now the headquarters is also in Switzerland. And I'll explain what kind of blockchain they have actually built in the past decade. So starting with this, very known issues is how we can make sure that the data, the credential we have in front of us are not counterfeited or tampered with. They are genuine, and how we can authenticate them without a trusted party, and I would say for life, ideally. And this concerns any kind of data, any kind of value. It can be also translated into passport, including biometry, not only biography, but any kind of value data that you put on a document, certificate, diplomas, passports. So for any kind of issuer, this is very important that they can secure your claim or the claim of their customer. So it concerns any kind of market, any kind of organization, from NGOs to public-private sector to the public authorities when we talk about foundational identity. So as an issuer, what you want to do, actually, it's to make sure that you provide the credential, the value, the data on a document or any kind of means that you're going to provide to the data owner or to the holders. You are part of a chain of trust. You are the issuer, but actually you receive accreditation to maybe generate this information from another authority. And then you give that to the holders that can provide this credential or this data or this information to a third party or to a verifier that would like to verify, ideally without being part of the system, and in a very universal mode and for life. So, as I said before, you want, as an issuer, to protect the customer claim and to have this verifiable universally. Now, how to digitally secure value documents? We are not only talking about identity of the person here, but as I said earlier, how can I prove that this document or this information has been generated by a legitimate issuer? How can I prove that this document or this data is genuine? And how can I prove that those proofs are authenticate? And this is the kind of journey that we have built, a solution we have built where we can secure the chain of trust by securing the process integrity. We can secure the data through a cryptographic link on the blockchain, and we can then use the blockchain to secure both processes, data, and identity. So we are talking about the combination of secure register that will track the event, secure ID to make sure that it's indeed you who did that, and track also the time, of course, and also at the end to make sure that the data, the outcome, is secured itself and can be universally verifiable. So we do provide secure ID to processes, documents, and people. And all those layers actually are based on blockchain. So how it works? If I look at the, let's say, helicopter view, you want to create a secure marking, kind of secure marking. It could be a QR code, but a secure QR code on your documents that contains the valued data. What is then humanly readable is only there for being humanly readable. Then only the machine will actually verify that the data is genuine. So you need an application for that. This will be registered in the blockchain and be tamper-proof for life. Even the blockchain that we are proposing today will stop. Actually, what has been done in the past will remain, and you will still be able actually to verify this credential and this information, this claim, in the next 10 years or 100 years. Then from the verifying side, you would like to see or to verify the authenticity of its data, the integrity of the issuing process, just to make sure that it has been issued by a trusted party. This ideally online and offline, so it can also be done on the paper offline or digitally offline, and on paper or only digital. So the blocks are when you create or you have the original information, you go through an authentication, so you digitally authenticate yourself into the system, and then we'll track the access control, and you can use also this login to sign electronically document if you don't wish actually to generate QR codes or means actually to connect to this information. Here I'm explaining the way actually to connect some physical QR code to the claim. Then you go to the system, you have a secure database, secure register, also in the blockchain where we track everything, not only records the data, but also the process. So you define a process, the process will have an ID, you put this ID on the blockchain, and actually you cannot try to escape from this process. So this is very important to have the unicity of the information and avoid inclusion into the system. The process integrity, not only data integrity. And you put that on this blockchain that is called KSI. I will come back on that a little bit later. And then you issue the outcome or the document with the valued information. Any kind of. So what is interesting, the properties we are guaranteeing here is that the data or the valued data stays with the issuer. It doesn't go on the blockchain, right? So only metadata, basically hashes, are stored in the blockchain. It is a kind of verification key or root that is connected to the data, but the data doesn't stay in the blockchain. There is no need for complicated wallets or keys management. The data is readable by any kind of QR readers, but then you need a specific application actually to verify it, to make sure that it's genuine. But at least it can be read by any kind of codes, and inside you will discover that there is let's say, a cryptographic link to his parent that will verify the genuinity of the information. So now what happens for the issuer? So the issuer actually will manage or will use a dynamic content. It will build codes based on, for instance, CSV data. It can be any kind of data again. It can be simply the information that you have been graduated, but it can also contain biometry or any kind of other information that you can digitalize and then put in the system. Then the code will integrate a means to connect to the root. So you will have a root that will stay on the blockchain, that is the parent, and it will build actually some children, and then you will create a kind of DNA link between the root in the blockchain and the information on your QR code that is the children. And this is contained in the QR code itself. So it's a keyless security of the root. Once the QR is generated, the data removed from the blockchain and it stays on the issuer side. So then you generate and store the reference hashes, so the root or the verification key, and you deliver in return the child QR code that will go together with the owner and the information you wanted to secure. So you can With one root, actually, you can secure only one document or one information, or hundreds or thousands, or even, if you wish, billions of documents with only one root that can secure all those children. Now, what you need as an issuer, you need to identify yourself. And for this, you will receive actually a secure login that is also based on some blockchain technologies that is called now BLT, that we would consider maybe as a second generation of PKI. So it's a key to access the platform. So you will identify yourself with a second authentication factor. The first one is a normal login, as you do when you do online banking. What is new here, again, it's using blockchain security, but it's server-assisted signature. The certificate verification is done at the signature creation and not a posteriori, and you cannot do anything offline. You need to be online for that. So it's adding security. And since it's using blockchain and hashes, it's already quantum immune. And we see, or we can say that quantum computers is only, a question of, decades or 20 years, so we have time to see that, but you have probably read the news also last week, where we see that Google and IBM are pretty advanced in using quantum computer for production. So this will come, probably in 5 to 10 years. So it's good to have already some security here. Then you upload your private key as a standard one. It's only the way of the cryptographic way that we manage private key here that is different from the PKI, normal PKI that we know. You enter into the system, and then you can generate the batches of QR codes, and you can activate them whenever you wish. As soon as they are activated, then we can verify the claim. Also, from this platform, you can revoke some information, part of the batch, part of the information, and this can be done every single second, because the latency of the system is 1 second. And then upload new batch and do the same things for any kind of odd document, as I said earlier. Now, what is happening on the trusted server or on the system itself? So there we're going to store only the root and also all the accesses logins, all the access right based on the EID, so we know who has connected, when, and who has issued what. We can trace that through the chain of trust and through this process integrity that is included in the system. So this is what we can guarantee and what is stored in the system. So anything you will do in the system will be recorded actually in the blockchain and will become tamper-proof. So you generate, as I said earlier, and store the reference hashes, and you go into this kind of system where you see here that only the root will be stored into the KSI blockchain, only this metadata, it's a metadata, there is no information about your data, and then you will get QR code. So in that case, there is a batch of 3 different diplomas for 3 different persons, for instance, that's an example, and you will put this QR code on the right diploma and provide it to the holders of the diploma and to the graduated person. And there it contains the data plus the means to connect to the root. So it means that if you change anything on the QR code, then you break these links, you break the DNA information, and then it will mention that either it cannot recognize or validate this information, or it has been forged. In case you try to forge the QR code and re-edit the QR code, you will break actually this information. So it's very fast, as I said earlier. Every single second you can create batches of millions of documents. So again, here you are in the system. You see that there is the root cause here, and the green boxes here, the green dots that you see here, it's the proof or the blockchain proofs that something happened and that you have a valid proof of the transaction or the information that you have actually created here. It stored the root here into the blockchain, and then it creates, as I said earlier, all the different QR code that will go to the different documents. So now what happens for the verifier or for the user? He will get actually, or what is secure about this cryptographic proof, what is content in this cryptographic proof. There is the time of issuance, there is the authenticity of the issuer. You will get the identity of the issuer, and then you can verify the identity of the issuer into the system. The conformity of the issuing processes can be audited. The integrity of the value documents content, so it's tamper-proof for life, as I said earlier, even if the blockchain that we are using stops. And there is the status of the credential as well. Whether it has been revoked or it has been expired or whatever, this can be controlled, and it can be controlled in case you have an identity theft or someone stole something. You can revoke the information within a second by the system. And as I said earlier, this is universally verifiable. Actually, you can give this information to anybody that will be able to verify by itself without the need of a trusted authority. I said also in the introduction that this is valid for the digital document, but also the printed document. So you can print the document, check that offline, it will work. And this is interesting because everything is content in the QR code. So you will just need to receive by streaming the routes on your system as soon as you are online. When it's done, then you can verify this on offline. That could be very useful if you are in an emergency mode, in some countries where you don't have access to a network. You can still verify some credential and identity credential that has been given by, for instance, some NGOs, or in case, again, of emergency. In case of emergency, like when we have earthquake or these kind of things, and people will lose everything, their passport and everything, the authority, the nation or the state authority will have access to such a system, and they can, in one click, in 1 second, give QR codes via mobile, actually, to their citizen, and then this can be used as a passport or identifier of their identity. Quick and easy verification, as I said earlier, it could be web application, mobile application, and then maybe it's a little bit difficult to read on the screen, but this is different examples of different QR code that we are using here just for showcasing what kind of statement or states of the documents you can get. So this one is verified, and the information that you have here on the screen are verified. This one is verified, but it has been expired. We see on the top right that the information will expire, so you can also know and give actually data that are valid only for a certain duration. This one, for instance, it has been revoked, and this one it has been forged. Someone tried to modify the QR code, and there is no link with the root, as I said earlier. And the one that has been revoked, it has been revoked by the issuer for some reason. For instance, you change your last name, or you lie and you are not, or they discover that actually you have not this credential, and they can revoke it again on the seconds. Part of the information on only one QR that is part of a batch of billions of documents. You are not going to revoke all the QR codes, so some are staying valid. So now, if we think about combining this kind of technologies together, with the digital authentication and e-signature login that I've presented a little bit earlier, or any kind of others, then you can actually get a digital authentication with zero-knowledge proof approach and also selective disclosure approach. So what you see on the screen, it's a combination of all that, where actually some authority will give, the certificate authority will give a certificate through this QR code managed by the technology that I have just introduced. Then you will get access, you will here have series of hashes that will protect some of your identifier. It could be your last name, that you are above 18, your biometry, any kind of information that is useful, that you want to share. And actually, by the fact that this document is protected by the way that I have explained so far, that there is a certificate that certifies that these hashes are indeed genuine, then you can disclose only what you need to disclose, either to a police officer or to a barman to show that you are above 18. And you select the hashes, and just by verifying that the hashes on your certificate are the right one, you will know that you are above 18. So it's a mix between zero knowledge proof, selective disclosure, and using this kind of QR code technologies that underlying are using blockchain. So two different technologies combined together that can create this kind of what we can imagine to be a national EID tool. On top of that, the same login can be used for signing electronic documents. So a very secure way of signing and notarizing actually digitally only your documents without the needs to have a physical signature or any apostille on your documents. And this only digitally. So no need anymore to have hardware, chips or whatever. What is interesting are the differences with the current blockchain-based solution that we have to secure documents, is that usually they're secured only e-format. They're only online, so you need to be online to verify the things. There is no guarantee of the authenticity of the documents. If you are not guaranteeing the chain of trust and that it has been issued by the right people, you cannot guarantee that the information is genuine. It is, so this is what I explain here, process integrity. It is usually, if we take public blockchain, unregulated, energy intensive, and not really scalable. And there is usually a cryptocurrency or these kind of things linked to it, and then that can bring some additional complexity to the system that is probably unnecessary. So what we have shown here will help actually to reduce fraud schemes, so alteration or counterfeited information, whether it is a certificate again, a diploma, a title deed, a passport information. You will have the possibility to authenticate either the paper-based or the e-format, online or offline. You will guarantee the data privacy and the issuing process. Everything is, as I said earlier, encrypted, and then you are only using hashes and then selective disclosure if you wish. So you can reduce a lot the KYC here because you will do it once at the level of the financial authority, so level of a state. So it can reduce a lot of the cost of the audit as well because you have nothing to verify except using a mobile phone and then scanning a QR code and verifying this, the claim. And indeed, this could drastically streamline actually the process by automating tasks that has today no value, like verifying that your credential is valid. So as the last slide, since we are in a blockchain workshop, the one that we use is different from the one that has been mentioned today, so mainly Hyperledger. We are using a so-called blockchain KSI, and this is the one that is securing today the digital state of Estonia since 2008. So all actually registers, all databases, so more than 1,700 actually services or digital services in Estonia are secured with this blockchain. And this has been created even before the paper of Satoshi Nakamoto, actually a month before the paper of Satoshi Nakamoto. It can be used, and it has been built from the beginning, actually not for a particular use case, but for any kind of application. And this is very important because it is by design interoperable. So you can use it for securing, title deed, the tax register, for health management or digital identity. And as I said earlier, this is application agnostic. There is no cryptocurrency linked to it. There is no data shared into this blockchain or exposed into the blockchain. It's only concatenating or aggregating hashes that are going out of your database, but the data stays on your database. It is fully scalable. So today we can, and the latency is almost nil because we are talking about a second. So you can secure 1,000 billion actually transactions per second into this, blockchain. It has a public trust anchor, so it's a permission blockchain, but actually publicly exposed. So there is the top hash that is securing all the system that is exposed and publicly exposed into a newspaper, that is the Financial Times of London, and that every single month since 2008. So if you buy on the 15th of the month the Financial Times, you will find a guard time hash on top of one of the pages, where you can verify actually that the claim or your data is indeed secure and genuine. There is no electricity consumption thanks to that. It's already quantum proof because we are only using hashes. And this is running since 24/7 since 2008 and in production since 2012, securing Estonia, but not only Estonia now. This is used by NATO, this is used by the defense, by the DARPA in the United States, by China, by Verizon, Ericsson, by many other public and private actually customers nowadays. So you don't need to bother about interoperability by using this kind of blockchain. You just plug into the system and that's it. So as I said earlier, blockchain is only bringing some value if you wish to audit the information and if you wish to secure the data. You need to bring additional technologies, this is what I have exposed today, and combine them actually to bring a little bit more value and secure not only the data, but the process. And then build on that, you can have, or let's say, build new solutions to have new kind of digital authentication and e-signature, and also new ways of securing data, whether it is digital or paper-based. And this is my last slide.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marco Aloe. Do you have any question for him? Sorusu olanlar için mikrofonu uzatabiliriz. Evet, beyefendi var solda. Buyurun.
Hello, thank you for the presentation.
Who is talking?
I'm here, left side, here.
Yes. Sorry.
Thank you for the presentation. First, I want to check that if I get this right. This system can prove the authenticity of paper documents, right? With a QR code on the document itself.
Yes.
Does it mean that this document isn't tinkered with or is changed a number on the document? There is no change in the document. Can it prove that? Or it's just proof that the document has been generated? But
no, the information, the data that has the value is printed on the document. So let's say a diploma. A diploma will have your last name, your, your title or your grade or whatever. And this is what is valued and this is what you want to protect. So actually you will generate a QR code which contains this data. So the QR code on the document will contain the data that you can read on the paper. But the data on your paper are not the single source of truth.
okay.
Only the data on the QR code will be the single source of truth. So if you modify your paper, you need, when the verifier is scanning actually the QR code, first of all, it will be a green light, and then it needs to verify that indeed the information that it can read is genuine. Otherwise, it just read the information on the mobile, which are the single source of truth.
So the verification itself, I read the QR code, then I check it myself if it is true.
Yes, or you check only on the mobile.
Okay.
And you disregard what is written on the text because this has no value. It has only a value for human to read it.
Okay.
But this is not what you guarantee. This is not the single source of truth.
Okay. Thank you. And my second question is, I think it was for the, what is it in for the issuer slide. When the QR code is generated, it said the data is removed from the blockchain. But from what I learned from now on, you shouldn't be able to remove any data from a blockchain, right?
Yeah. So actually, it is not written in the blockchain when it's generated. Only the root is written in the blockchain. So the QR or the data itself will not be written in the blockchain, right?
Yes.
So only the root will be stored in the blockchain, and this will stay immutable, not the data.
So the original data in the
this is given back.
Hashed data in the blockchain is now gibberish, means nothing, because the root is now, okay. I
Exactly,
understand.
only the root.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question? Okay. I think there is no. Thank you very much for your speech.
Welcome.
Son sunumumuz Türk